All right, this is, I guess you could say, part one of the video analysis of the Ronda Rousey Holly Holmes fight that took place Saturday. Obviously, as you know, Ronda lost. And what I want to do is give you a video breakdown and analysis of the actual fight itself from a Wing Chun perspective. Because, in a sense, even though they're doing different styles, their philosophy done correctly still encompasses that of what Wing Chun sets out to do. So first of all, the opening scene is the stare down, and I get it. I understand it's a stare down. This is the point where you have to intimidate the other individual, and if you can't look them eye to eye, you've got the advantage. But basically, looking meaner doesn't necessarily give you the edge. Skill is skill. So in a real fight situation, and you got to remember differentiating between fighting and sparring. In a real fight situation, if all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm gonna now kick your butt, you basically gave that individual something to counter with. Now he knows that you're upset. Now he knows that something's up, and now you've given him something to deal with. But if something was about to happen and you're gonna fight and you decide to make that decision, a fight's gonna happen, everything's happy, everything's go lucky, everything's smiling, and then you wouldn't. I would just be smiling as is, and then you would launch the attack. But yes, I understand this is a tournament situation, so let's go over the opening scene stuff that I want to point out. Right here at the 50-second mark is something I want to point out here. Okay, yeah, this right here is the triple combination punch that she does. So in this situation at the 50-second mark, you see Holly do multiple combinations. Now, one thing I want to specify here that is incredible is part of the thing, when she does that, she is actually targeting Rhonda, the actual target itself. So each attack she's trying to launch towards the target. Now you may think this is a big deal, but usually as for the attackers, they have an advantage because they're the one taking the shot. If you look at the reaction of what Rhonda's doing is when those attacks are flying into her, she's looking at the attack itself. Oh no, this punch is coming here, this punch is coming here. So you're basically playing a reaction game going from one attack to another attack and the other attack, and at no point during those launch of the attacks is Holly even at a threat because she's too concerned with dealing with the attacks. Holly, on the other hand, is aiming exactly at Rhonda, the target, all the time. So one of the advantages of throwing the attacks out is, yes, I'm always targeting. If proper defense is, she should be targeting back at her center and not be too worried about her hands. But that's something that's trained with, dealing with the hands. Now we're going to go to the 110 mark here. 1 second. Let me get there.
Holly is also in tremendous physical condition. There's another key to the fight. That oblique kick is very popular.
Okay, right there. Right there is a perfect. That's what I'm looking for. If you notice, Rhonda throws out all these fake jabs, and the fake jabs basically, in some cases in the scenarios, is done so that she can close the gap and see some kind of reaction from that. So when you close the gap in and do a fake jab to lead, you're basically, if you have no intent to hurt that individual at the time, you have no intent to actually throw a shot. In this example that I have here, when she did that, this was, although planned, Holmes was waiting for it. If she comes into a certain range, in that range, even no matter what she does, I'm going to throw in an attack. She threw a fake jab, Rhonda threw a fake jab with no intent to hit, and then Holmes actually just took the shot, and it was perfect. Perfect timing because at that point, she had nothing to counter. She had no intent to actually shoot, while she had every intent planning to wait for the shot. At the same time, another example, sorry about this, I'm going to go back, is at the 43-second mark, right here.
I have a feeling her team's going to get a workout in this fight.
Right there. This example where she tries to lead in, now this is the other example, but done in the wrong way. She throws in a fake hook, and instead of being prepared to take a shot, she wasn't planned to take the shot at the time, she actually steps back. Now imagine that. At the 43-second mark, had her intent been, okay, once she comes within my range, I'm going to go in and attack. At that point, right here, look how exposed Rhonda is from straight down the center. I know this is how the guys train, but they never protect their center line. They never protect. That's just how they train. So at this point, a straight shot in instead of moving back would have finished the match. But obviously, in this case, she wasn't planned or prepared to deal with it, so she simply stepped back and didn't take advantage of it. Okay, the 130 mark right here. All right, so right there, you see Rhonda with her first shot. Throughout this entire match, she's basically leading with her hands. So what does that mean that she's leading with her hands? Leading with her hands is let the hands lead first and then the body follow afterwards. So if it hits, it's great in the fact that you're making a tag. But notice that kind of power where you lead with that with no body support other than the momentum puts you at a massive disadvantage. One, basically you're off balance. Two, you don't have that much power as you think you do because you're actually going for the stretch. So even then when she connects to Holly, basically did no damage from that. Okay. Okay, this is a beautiful situation, 155, and we see Holly do something here that is nice.
Side by Holly. Holly's got to get out of there, and she does.
Right there, right there. All right, once again, throughout the entire match, I said Rhonda was basically leading with her hands, trying to invest 100% into each hit. If you invest 100% in each hit and you miss, you are toast. And like I said, when you do that, you put yourself at a disadvantage by losing your center of gravity. Right there, she's off, and right there, she eats the kick to the face. Okay? I know people train like this, but in real fighting, you're not. Yes, there's an aggressiveness, there's a guts that's involved with it, but you also want to have the calmness within. You don't want to go ape wild and have no control. Fighting is like war. You don't know what's happening. Everything's coming at you, and the natural reaction is to panic. But you want to actually learn how to be in control of that situation and not go buck wild like Rhonda did at that scenario. This is a beautiful example at 234 mark. The difference between Rhonda and Holly. Right here's an elbow. Boom! Right there's an elbow. Why did that elbow connect, and why does Rhonda struggle to get her attacks off? Because if you play a game of tag, for example, just an example with your partner, if I move my hands like this, right here, imagine he's at that distance, he'll react to that right away. He'll do something, move back, step back right away, because your hands are going active. Why did Holly's attack go unnoticed by Rhonda at that time? Because when Holly throws her attack, and she's been trained well. I'm very impressed with how she's trained. She's not leading like this to do that. See, when Rhonda does her attack, she's leading like this and the body follows. The reason there's no reaction here is because when Holly threw out her elbow, she's moving her body first, and still, all of a sudden, Rhonda's in her mind waiting for, let me see the hands, because she's targeting the hands, not the center. She's targeting the hands. Nothing's moving. So she moves in her body, and then she throws the elbow. So at this close range, you won't have a reaction. Because imagine, if I put my hand up here, you have the reaction. But if all of a sudden I'm right here and then I put my hand, there's no reaction from that. And that's why that elbow actually connected. So from there, she's moving her body in, if you notice, and then no reaction at all from Rhonda because the hands are staying totally passive. And then at the last second, she throws out the elbow. That's why it connected. The problem only with this elbow, and this fight would have been over, is when she throws this elbow, while the target may have been here, her power is over here. So if she throws the elbow to twist in at this point, and twist in, leading her power going to the side. Had she just walked in straight, hitting the target, and at that time, the timing was perfect, that would have planted the force in, and she would have been knocked out at that point. Okay, at that point. But since it rolled over more to the side, it didn't fully connect. It did damage, don't get me wrong, it did damage, but it would have ended had it been more of a straight impact as opposed to the turning curve. Okay, let's look at the 304 mark. Okay, perfect example, low kicks. How do you deal with the low kicks? This example, once you step into the range of a low kick, or actually into kicking range. The point where she can actually physically touch you, whether it's leg, body, or head. You have to move in. That's a must. You have to move in. You cannot stop on the spot, and that's why she ate that kick. Let's look at that again. Right there. You got to have the intent to move in, and like she did throughout the entire fight. She's leading with the hands. She's leading with the hands. You cannot go half-ass in when you close the gap. You got to go in fully, passively, but not give out what you're doing. Okay. Beautiful example here at 340 mark. This is perfect. I really love this example.
Did a top 10 all-time list in January.
So right here,
Magazine, Holly was on that list.
you know, you always hear, well, what do I do if someone grabs me? Guess what? Don't grab him back. Play your game. She wants to grab, she wants to punch. Okay? Notice Rhonda's trying to get in a grappling match. If she ended up Holly trying to grab her back, guess what? They're back on the ground, and now she's playing to her advantage. She started grabbing her. Guess what? I'm not grabbing you back. I'm moving away or I'm punching. So the perfect example. Play your game, and that really done well there, you know. And let me give you one more example at the 350 mark.
And you gotta wonder, Rhonda starts getting
Let's
desperate.
see, right here. This hit connects. Right there, perfect. Another example. Move with the body first. Keep the hands passive. Move with the body first, then throw out the attack. She does this several times throughout the match. And towards the end of the first round, you can see Rhonda's totally gasping for air. Okay, so this is the first round, and pretty much this match is over. You can see the different advantages and disadvantages that each fighter was doing, but for the most part, Holly very impressive. Did very much the right Wing Chun technique. Play the passive game, and passive does not mean waiting. Passive means not giving your opponent something to counter. Biggest difference between the two fighters, one was leading with the hands. When you lead with the hands, you give up your attack. When you lead with the body, what happens? You lead with the body, hands stay passive, hard to counter at the last second. So, incredible fight, I thought, because you can see a lot of Wing Chun philosophy in it. And if you have any questions, drop me a line.